Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening.
Hold one, arm drag.
You're not good at this. Get out. Let me tell you a personal story about Vince McMahon.
You just made the list. Oh my God.
Sorry, no speak English.
Dummy. Goodbye and good night. Hold two, arm bar.
It's still real to me, damn it.
Dummy.
This is the worst town I've ever been in.
Hold three, Lamas covered, three-handle family gradunzel.
Mamma mia!
And now, Unchained.media presents the B Plus Podcast with your host, Greg Unchained.
It's me, Austin. It was me all along, Austin.
Number 4, armbar.
I will never retire.
I still got 200 more. I got 200 more holes to list.
All right, fellow B Plus players, welcome to the B Plus Podcast. I'm your host, Greg Unchained. Today is Friday. You know what that means. It's Aussie Grapps Day. It's our favourite day here at the B Plus Podcast. It's the day we sit down to talk about everything going on in the world of Australian professional wrestling. We also like to speak to an Aussie grappler or grappler-adjacent person. This week, I sat down at the ACW Evolve 18 show to talk with Andy Faust ahead of his match with Matt Hayter. Pretty much just sat down and shot the shit for 20 minutes or so, talking about where he's come from, what he's done, and talking about the problems that we see in Australian professional wrestling and a few other things. It's a really interesting chat, and I will play that one for you soon. But first, let's take a look at this week in Aussie Grapps news. Top story for the week. It's not really a story, it's more of a plug for a friend. Bronco Busters have released a physical zine. It was available for purchase last weekend at Underworld Wrestling and at Melbourne City Wrestling Endgame, and now it is available for you and me and anyone outside of Melbourne to also get your hands on it for just $8. That is available at broncobusters.bigcartel.com. Shout out to Erin Dick for all the work she does with Bronco Busters. It highlights LGBTQIA++ and female-identified individuals within professional wrestling, within Australia. It's fantastic work. The interviews are all top quality. I haven't received my physical copy of the zine yet, but I imagine it's going to be more of what you get on the website, an extension of that with some great photography and all that sort of stuff. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing what is inside the zine, but all I know is right now you can order it online at broncobusters.bigcartel.com, and I definitely recommend you get out and do that. So, like I said, that wasn't really news, that was more of a plug, because I really like the work that Erin and the Bronco Busters do, and so I wanted to get that out there first and foremost. But beyond that, big headline this week, Festival Hall has been heritage listed. So there was an application put in to view it as a historical landmark, and the Victorian Heritage Council found that the building was a place of cultural heritage to Victoria because it has a role as the only major purpose-built boxing and wrestling venue to physically demonstrate the long-term history of these sports in the state. Festival Hall, of course, for those of us older than me, who are old enough to remember the glory days of Australian professional wrestling, is the venue in Melbourne where WCW, the Australian WCW, used to run back in the 70s. It's a very famous venue. There's been lots of wrestling there, lots of concerts there, still get held there. I'm kind of on the fence about this story, though. Like, when you read through the comments from the owners and stuff, they're talking about how it's a rundown venue and how, you know, it's not able to make a profit and the renovations would cost too much and it would raise the prices up for venue hire and then it would just drive them further into the red, and how they really just want to knock it down and build apartments. Now, on the one hand, that sucks because, yes, there was some great things that happened there, but on the other hand, maybe the venue's time has come and gone. Like, I'm not one for... I mean, progress for progress' sake is redundant, but so is reserving tradition for tradition's sake, just so we can look back and be like, look at all the things we did. Weren't we great? I mean, that's Donald Trump, right? That's make America great again. Make Festival Hall great again. No! Let it go. It happened. It's gone. The glory days are done, you know? The glory days are done. And I mean, they could be full of crap, these owners. They could be able to turn a profit on it. I don't know the intricacies of their accounting or whatever. I don't know if the venue would be able to turn a profit, but I'm just going off what I'm reading here, and it sounds like the place is run down. I've never been there myself. So, like I said, like reserving tradition just for the sake of, oh, look at all the things we did there. It's kind of redundant. Like, let it live on in stories. Let it live on in newspapers. Let it live on in video clips. You don't need the actual physical thing. I'm a student of history and physical history, and the whole heritage thing has always seemed weird to me. Not to mention, it's just my inner Ron Swanson gets up, like, the idea of a government telling citizens what to do with their property is an affront to our freedom. Like, it really, like, it gets me up that essentially a bunch of people have petitioned the Heritage Council to tell the owners of a piece of land, which we can get into all the debates about whether you can own land or whether that's legitimate or what have you. Like, that's not a discussion for a wrestling podcast necessarily, but whether a government can tell a person what they can or can't do with their own property. Right? Like, if you can tell a person what to do with their property, can you tell a person what to do with their body? Do we own ourselves? Like, it's a whole thing. And it just feels icky that they're like, hey, I know that thing's yours and you own it and you want to get rid of it and knock it down and do something else with it, but you're not allowed to because we said so because the majority of people agree. Like, I don't care what the majority of people once agreed that slavery was a good idea. The majority of people can be very stupid. So, yeah, I don't know, it's a whole thing, but at the end of the day, we're a wrestling podcast. There's a lot of wrestling history in Festival Hall, and it has been preserved. Huzzah? Something I can huzzah is Tome and Stevie Filip. They tried out, along with a bunch of other people, I assume, at MCW last weekend for Fale Dojo, and they have been accepted as the newest young lions to head over to New Zealand to train with Tox Fale, Bad Luck Fale, and the Fale Dojo. This, in the past, for other people who have gone, has led to New Japan Pro Wrestling Young Lion contracts and what have you, so this is a very, very exciting development for these guys. Congratulations, Tome and Stevie Filip. We also got the news at the beginning of the week that Hartley Jackson, who we reported about a few weeks ago having retired and had his last match over in 0-1 in Japan, has announced that he is actually going to the WWE Performance Center. So he has signed on to be a coach in NXT. Congratulations to Hartley Jackson. Now, if you're familiar with Hartley Jackson as a trainer, I mean, he has produced some of the best talents in Australia. He has had a massive effect on Australian professional wrestling. We talked about it a few weeks ago, but I mean, just look at some of, I mean, the likes of Jonah Rock, Damian Slater, AJ Istria, many, many more, all trained by this man. So, you know, the NXT trainees are in very, very good hands when we add Hartley Jackson to the mix over there. I mean, they were in good hands already, but the hands just got better. Many hands make light work. Hands, hands, hands. I've said hands a lot. Hartley Jackson's a good hand, kid. But, you know, it's really great to see that Jag is going to the Performance Center. More Australians making waves. Hashtag Now We Conquer. He was also mentioned on the Jericho podcast this week as the worst guest Jericho has ever had, which made me laugh a little. They also talked about Robbie Eagles, Mick Moretti, Slex, Jonah Rock, and Adam Brooks, because he was in Australia and he had an Australian friend on the podcast. No idea who the guy was, so I'm sorry. I have no idea who the guy was, but he was talking about Australian wrestling. So a couple of our guys got the mention on the Jericho podcast. Hopefully it leads to something. Hopefully Jericho looks into them and we get some Aussie guys on the Jericho podcast. That would be amazing. In announcement news for the week, Battle Championship Wrestling have announced their next show, BCW 25, is one that has been announced for a while. I completely forgot to mention it the other week when it was announced, but Ken Shamrock is making his return to professional wrestling to face Gabriel Wolf in Melbourne as part of Battle Championship Wrestling 25. That one takes place on the 30th. They also have a seminar with him and a night. They, like BCW, like to do the sit-down like they did with the ECW Legends, where it's sort of like a Q&A session. And Ken Shamrock's going to do one of those. And then he's also, of course, featured on BCW 25 in that match against Gabriel Wolf. That show is going to feature on The Project. They announced this week that Channel 10's The Project, yes, The Project with, you know, Waleed Ali and, I don't know, Charlie Pickering used to be on it. I don't know, it's a bunch of smug panelists sitting there being smug and laughing at other people's interests. That's my experience with it. They've had wrestling on it a few times. They had IWA on, and they focused mostly on Mehmet and had a bit of a laugh track playing. They had, once upon a time, they actually had Shane Haste and Mikey Nichols doing moves in a ring, and they were advertising EPW. And once again, they had a laugh track playing. You're playing a laugh track over a guy doing a standing shooting star press on the ground. Like, that's incredible athleticism, and you're laughing at it like, look how fake this stuff is. I really don't like the project covering pro wrestling, but at the same time, any publicity is good publicity, as they say. And when I reached out to some people to talk about this, I was pointed in the direction of a very respectful piece they did on George the Hitman Julio getting back into the ring a few years ago. So they are capable of treating it respectfully, and so I'm interested to see how this goes with... So I've never been to a BCW show in Melbourne, so I don't know for sure, but from some relatively reliable sources, some people that are friends of mine say that the BCW crowd are an interesting crowd. And so I'm a little unsure as to how things are going to go down. But if you want to potentially get your mug on TV, head down to BCW 25 next Saturday night, on the 30th of November, and you might get a chance to feature on the project, because they will be interviewing crowd members as well. In other news this week, Venom Pro Wrestling announced that Gursinder Singh of Impact Wrestling's Desi Hit Squad, formerly, because I think he got kicked out. The Desi Hit Squad confuse me sometimes. Gursinder Singh is coming to Australia. He's coming to Queensland. He's going to face Rip Riley in Venom Pro Wrestling. Very exciting stuff. That one goes down on December 15th at the Showman's Club in Yatala. That should be a good one to see. Now, we've got a couple of injuries to talk about this week as well. Alex Kingston has dislocated his shoulder. This means that Street Gang Hooligans are in question for World Series Wrestling, but One Fall Entertainment and Alex Kingston have said that he should be okay by the time the third Studio Superstars taping rolls around, where the Street Gang Hooligans will face the One Fall Tag Team Champions, whoever they may be, after the tournament concludes. And he should be okay by the next EPW event, which isn't until next year. But it's a dislocated shoulder, so it looks like this weekend's World Series Wrestling, Street Gang Hooligans, or at least Alex Kingston, may not be able to attend. Best of luck to Alex Kingston, and we wish him a speedy recovery as always. I mean, Alex Kingston is one of the best in Australia. He is definitely a part of one of the best tag teams in Australia, and we hope that it's nothing too serious and that he gets better soon. Also being added to the injured list this week, Roswell out of New South Wales, and Mr. Christmas, also out of New South Wales. I'm not sure what it was with Roswell. I didn't get a chance to reach out, unfortunately. I only just saw the news but he will be out for the rest of the year, and he's looking forward to coming back for an even stronger 2019, but he's out for the foreseeable future. Mr. Christmas, similar situation. With Mr. Christmas, it's multiple shoulder dislocations back-to-back that have him out. He has a surgery date, which is yet to be decided. He is, however, making sure we all know he is available as a merry ring announcer. He will be ring announcing for Future Wrestling Australia this weekend. And I want to put the call out to all Australian promoters who have shows in December. December is the month of Christmas. Mr. Christmas is the wrestler of Christmas. He is Mr. Christmas Lucha, at Christmas Lucha on Twitter. Reach out to him and book him. You need a Christmassy voice for your show. If you've got a show in December, especially if you're in New South Wales. If you're in New South Wales, there's no excuse not to book Mr. Christmas as your announcer. It's going to put smiles on kids' faces, and that's what we do, right? That's what we do in pro wrestling. We put smiles on faces. Vince McMahon says so. You telling me you know pro wrestling better than Vince McMahon? Don't answer that. I bet a lot of you think you do. So, book Mr. Christmas. Book Mr. Christmas as your ring announcer, as a special officiant of some kind. I'm sure, it will get the fans involved in a really special way for your December shows. Mr. Christmas may be injured, but he is still available as a merry voice. Best wishes to both Roswell and Mr. Christmas. Obviously, we hope you guys get well as soon as you can, get those surgeries, get recovered, and get back in the ring doing what you do. Someone who has recently gotten back in the ring doing what they do is Carlo Cannon. Made his return this weekend at Underworld Wrestling, and he has also announced his return to Battle Championship Wrestling for next weekend's Battle Championship Wrestling 25, we talked about already. He's going to hold an open challenge at that one. I won't talk too much about what happened at Underworld Wrestling, because spoilers, and it's going to be all available on Pivot Share soon. Anyway, I'm hearing around the end of the month we should be able to get our hands on Underworld 4. But I will say this, I was right. I was right about Sagat Pyro. It was Dowie. It was Dowie with an evil beard and all. Holy crap, he looked so different in that weird diaper getup with the evil beard. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the gimmick is and how it comes across on TV. Very much looking forward to seeing that. But I was right. I want it to go down in the record books that I knew who Sagat Pyro was before he debuted. Returned? It's a resurrected gimmick. He used to work as Champagne Pyro, so I'm going to assume it's the same kind of thing. Now, also last weekend, we talked about Pro Wrestling League had their first event. They were looking to crown a champion, and crown a champion they did. Mick Moretti walked out of Pro Wrestling League's Project Revolution as the first ever PWL champion. The highlights I've seen of the show look great. Robbie vs. Tim Cade looked really good. Mick Moretti vs. Xander Sullivan, they had a really nice chain sequence that I saw shared around the gram a few times. Xander Sullivan is one of my guys to keep an eye on, for sure. Definitely be looking out for anything you can from Xander Sullivan. He's got a tight promo. He's good in the ring from what I've seen. It's hard to see stuff from Queensland Wrestling. I keep saying this. I put out the call. Queensland Wrestling companies, please make your product more accessible. We need more YouTubes. We need more Pivot shares. Like, I'll pay, man. A lot of people will pay to watch these things on Pivot Share. So, even if you need to work out partnerships with other people to get that stuff out there, we really want to, we're hungry for the footage. We are hungry to get to know Queensland Wrestling. We want to lift it up, just like everywhere else in the state has slowly lifted up through accessibility. Accessibility is key as far as I can tell, but I'm getting away from myself. PWL, Pro Wrestling League, they look like someone who they want to be more accessible. This whole first show, from their interview on Wrestle Radio Australia with Todd Eastman, it sounds like this whole first show will be available on YouTube. No date set as of yet, but we're looking forward to this one coming out on YouTube. Like I said, I've seen a few highlights shared around the social media. Looking forward to more highlights later this week, and hopefully a full show coming soon. But Mick Moretti, what a choice for your inaugural champion. This is a guy who has one of the best characters in professional wrestling today. Not Australian professional wrestling. Professional wrestling today. Mick Moretti has one of the greatest, I'll put it out there. He has one of the greatest characters in all of professional wrestling today. He has the character work down. His Dream Scheme show is absolutely hilarious, and you need to be watching it on YouTube. I will drop a link in the show notes. He has solid in-ring work. He is reliable. Like, this is a guy who flies under the radar a lot of the time when we talk, because when we'll talk about the best Aussie wrestlers, you know, the names that get mentioned. Robbie Eagles, he's over in New Japan. PWG, Jonah Rock and Adam Brooks over in the UK, and we talk about these guys that travel. Mick Moretti travels too. He's really big over in Chikara. He actually is in line for a Chikara title shot. He has 3 points. He can cash those in for a title shot. He is now the first ever PWL champion. I cannot think of a better person to put the strap on if you want someone who has good character work, good in-ring work, and is completely reliable, and flies under the radar. Like I said, he's a name that flies under the radar. It's good to see him get that recognition and be the inaugural champion for Pro Wrestling League. Rant over, but that's something else that happened last weekend that I was really excited about. Meanwhile, that was in Queensland. Meanwhile, down in New South Wales last weekend, something that caught my eye. Hartley made her debut in Suplex Pro Wrestling. Now, their junior heavyweight division, now this is what you would think it's a men's division, but it's not. It's a weight division. It's junior heavyweights. Hartley qualifies as a junior heavyweight, and she made her intentions known. She wants that junior heavyweight gold. She's there in Suplex Wrestling to wrestle the boys for that junior heavyweight gold. Jake Gibson, champion, Lyle Akins, his manager, they took exception to this. They told her to get back in the kitchen. Bit of a trite line, you know, surely you could do something better than that, but it looks like they're working a really good angle to introduce the intergender stuff to the crowd. The crowd were hotly behind Hartley. Very exciting. And she will be making her in-ring debut for Suplex Wrestling this week at their homegrown show at Tellera Bowling Club. That one is on Friday night, and she will be taking on Lynx Lewis in her first ever junior heavyweight division match. Really excited for that one. It looks like a great angle. And I'm super keen to see where it goes. They are actually talk about accessibility. I love when companies make their stuff more accessible. Right, it was what made One Fall really stand out to me. They're going live. That's accessible as hell. We love that. Going live at least for part of the show, Suplex Wrestling, for Homegrown this Friday, they are going to live stream the announcement of Jack Payne's... he's put out an open challenge, and they're going to announce who has accepted the challenge for Jack Payne's heavyweight title, and they're going to live stream that live from the show. So very excited for that. Anytime a company is making themselves more accessible, it is a good thing. Suplex have caught my eye a few times, just the idea that they had a junior heavyweight title and they held a rumble that was open to anyone in the country was very exciting to me. They present themselves a little, well, at least from what I saw in the first couple of chapters, they presented themselves a little more sports-like, well, a little more like New Japan. They have the whole press conference style interviews, which is really cool. I'm a big fan of that kind of presentation, so I'm looking forward to seeing more from Suplex. And now with this, introducing intergender wrestling, I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of, the girls can wrestle the boys. They do it in training anyway. I've been to the training sessions. I know that that's what they do. There is no reason to be separating them. A weight division is fine. A weight division is a perfectly good way to separate talent if you're going to do it at all. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what they do with Hartley in the Suplex Junior Heavyweight division. And, a live stream is always good. Myself, last weekend, I was in attendance at Adelaide Championship Wrestling Evolve 18. It's one of the shows that they put on at their academy. It's kind of the smaller shows that they use to build the stories leading into their bigger shows, like the one that happened last month, Eminence, which was their biggest show to date. Now, this was a really, really good show, considering it's one of those smaller shows. I'm really getting into the stories that ACW are telling. The ongoing saga between Riley and Blake Mitchell is coming to a head, and the Purge are picking up steam. They're sort of attempting to intimidate people in the company. It was a really good show overall, but the big thing that stood out to me was the main event, Matt Hayter versus Andy Faust. I don't know how to say it. It's Andy Faust, I think. Matt Hayter versus Andy Faust. Great match. These two guys killed each other. Both guys took a bump on the apron, which always makes me cringe, but especially when Andy Faust took his bump on the apron, I was mega cringe. So I was in attendance. I was doing the social media for Adelaide Championship Wrestling. I do work with Adelaide Championship Wrestling from time to time. So I was sort of in the crowd doing the Instagram, running the Instagram and Facebook stories and posting things like that. And yeah, it was really cool to watch the show that way. It was a different way of experiencing the show, and it meant that I didn't really get to take notes for a review. So I didn't write a review for the website or anything, but it was a B+ show for sure. I really enjoyed the show. And yeah, Matt Hayter and Andy Faust stole the show. Like I said, bumps on the apron scare the shit out of me, guys. Andy Faust, I'll upload a video if I can from the Instagram story, but Andy Faust actually took a B driver from Matt Hayter. I don't know if that's what Matt Hayter calls it, but that's what I know it as, the B driver, where, it's kind of like the reverse pile driver kind of thing onto the apron. Scared the hell out of me, landed right on the back of his neck. I thought he was dead. But also Matt Hayter cut a brilliant promo, both before and after the match, but before the match specifically, he cut a promo. He noticed that the Iron Fist promoter was in the crowd, and I don't know if he was meant to say this, or if he went into business for himself after noticing that the Iron Fist promoter was in the crowd, but his promo was about how he had been undefeated all year in ACW, but was yet to receive a title shot, and how he thought that was bullcrap, and how management clearly don't respect him. And so he's cutting this promo, and he looks out into the crowd, and he sees the Iron Fist promoter, and he's like, maybe I need to go somewhere else, somewhere I can rule with an iron fist, somewhere I can really start a riot, somewhere I can rampage through the competition, that kind of thing. So he referenced Iron Fist while looking directly at the promoter. He referenced Riot City Wrestling. He referenced Wrestle Rampage in terms of, like, this is Matt freaking Hayter. Like, he has options. He is one of the best wrestlers in South Australia. Company lines be damned. He is. And this is me talking. This isn't him talking. I'm sure it was him talking as well. But he's one of my names to look out for in 2019, because if he decides to break out, he's going to break out. He's getting booked up in Queensland. I saw him pop up on New Valhalla Wrestling. Really excited for that. But yeah, Matt Hayter is a name to watch, and this promo was a fantastic promo. I don't know if he was going into business for himself or what. I don't know how everyone felt about that, but as a fan watching it, I thought that was a brilliant promo. I thought it was a great move, and then the match itself was amazing. These two killed each other for our entertainment, and ultimately Andy Faust got the win, building up. So the lights went out. The lights went out in the arena, and then when they came back to, he was in control and he hit his finish for the win. Could it have been the demonic entity that we know he's thrown his hat in the ring with? He sold his soul for success. Could it be that demonic entity that sort of aided him in this situation? Really cool story that they're building there. And before the show, I got the chance to sit down and talk with Andy. So let's have a listen to that. And then after the interview, I will tell you what is happening this weekend and week near you. I am currently backstage at ACW Evolve. I say backstage, we're like in a little side room with a bunch of broken tables. And I am joined by my guest for this week, Andy Faust.
How's it going?
Yeah, I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm very good.
I feel like we're going to get very hot in this room very quickly.
Very hot and very distracted by people playing with their nipples in this window.
Who's on it? It's Reese, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's fucking Reese.
We're on air. Fuck off.
I'll leave that in. Hey, Reese, if you're listening, fuck you. We're trying to work here, buddy. Yeah, so we've got a big show tonight. Well, it's one of the smaller shows that ACW do, but the sort of the house shows, I guess you'd call them.
Yeah, pretty much. So these Evolve shows are basically like the weekly NXT episodes that just keep everything running, you know. This is where we tell our storylines and whatnot and build up to the big main shows.
Yeah, and the main shows have moved out to... was it not Latvian Hall? That's where Riot Estonian Hall. Yeah. I knew it was one of those countries.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's an awesome venue there. I've always wanted to wrestle there. One of the first ever wrestling shows that I ever went to was a Riot City. I think it was Key to the City, and they had a show of Estonian. And I was like, "Yep, this is a sick venue." And
So they used to run that venue, and now they've moved out and gone elsewhere, and now ACW run that venue once every couple months.
Yeah. Pretty much.
The last show was the biggest show in ACW history, I think.
Yeah, I would say so. I think we drew maybe, I don't know, you were in the crowd, weren't you?
Yeah, that was a couple of hundred, I'd say.
Yeah, maybe over 200, I'm hoping. I don't know. I don't really look at the numbers and that sort of thing. Yeah,
It was a hot crowd, though.
Yeah. Yeah, they were a lot more vocal than normal.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have our, regulars who, you know, the crowd members that are... I don't know how to describe them. They've got a lot more charisma than other people would.
The people that like to shit stir.
Yeah. We'll say that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, it happens in every show. There's always. I was actually sitting near a couple of guys who took exception to something that happened in your segment on the show.
Oh, okay.
The debut of your new manager.
Oh, okay.
Right. So I want to get into this situation.
Yep.
It looked like, to me, I was a bit closer than them. It looked like a Finn Balor demon style face paint get up.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of black.
Yeah.
And they were chanting, "No more blackface."
So did they take actual offense to it?
I don't know if they were just, because they were the guys that were sort of yelling and jeering all night. So I don't know if they took actual offense.
Yeah.
But they were kind of having a bit of a chuckle like, "Oh crap, that doesn't look great."
Yeah, I suppose it's not the kind of crowd interaction that you want.
No.
But we'll take anything. Nah, yeah, so with that whole blackface thing, it was more so, he's meant to be a demonic character, a demonic entity, so maybe we should have insinuated that a bit more.
I got it. I think I got it. We got nipples on the windows again. Why did we pick a room with windows?
I don't know. We could always cover it up.
I think I even said in my review that I could see there was red as well. It wasn't just pure black. It was red,
red veins on his face, but I think I realised when I was backstage and it was completely dark, and every time I looked over to see where he was, because he was wearing a black suit as well, all I could see were his teeth and his eyes. Yeah. So that's when I started to realise, maybe this isn't the best idea.
Might have been a little bit of a miscalculation. Yeah. Are we going to see the demon tonight?
I don't know. I can't say too much just yet. I don't want to ruin the show for you, but...
Well, I mean, I didn't see anyone putting on face paint or anything, so...
he could be at the back of this tunnel room, for all you know. Right. You down there, mate? No, I don't know.
This room actually is pretty creepy now that I look around. There's some bookshelves behind us.
Mannequins down there and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty weird, man.
Amazing. Yeah, so we're in... This is where ACW actually do all their training.
Yeah. So normally we have 2 rings set up in here, which is pretty cool. So you have the more beginners working usually on the mats or in our other ring, and then our main guys will get in the yellow ropes ring and do our shit. And
I did a couple of weeks on the beginners days, but then I got a hernia and so I'm not able to train anymore, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I was telling you off air, but I'm just repeating it because I like to be overindulgent with my personal life with my listeners.
So have you done training anywhere else?
Yeah, I used to train up in Sydney with Australian Pro Wrestling Gym.
Okay.
Jay Law.
Okay.
Yeah, Lee Leslie. Yeah, sick dude, sick school.
Yep.
Yeah, but so I've done a little bit of training, and I'm definitely keen to get back into it. But no, I really like the setup that you guys have here, the 2-ring setup, and then the mats in the middle and stuff. It's really awesome. How long have you been training with ACW?
ACW, man, I've been in and out for a couple of years, as I have with like the other companies, which I probably get heat for, but that's just my way. Like, I see how the guys in the other companies work in Victoria and stuff, and I see like there's no one's loyal to one company. All the guys are hungry to get experience. All the guys are hungry to see what else is out there. And that's like what I want. You know, I've seen the guys in Riot City. I've seen the guys in Rampage and in PWSA. There's talent all over South Australia without a doubt. But what I hate about wrestling in South Australia is that we restrict ourselves so much and we limit everyone's potential. And I don't know if that's because of the egos of bookers or if that's just the way that it is. So that's something that like I take a stand against. Jack and Kyle, they're cool. Like they know exactly how I feel about it. But ACW from the very start of it, you know, I was there. I saw how it started. It started off in a shed-like venue, half the size of this, or if not a third, with, you know, maybe like 5 guys. And progressively, the company grew, shows have grown, and to see that progression is cool. You know, I know like this isn't the biggest company in SA right now, but they're getting there and they're putting themselves on the map.
Yeah, and the rookie classes are growing.
Yeah.
Right? So there were more rookies this time than the last time and stuff. So that's always going to help. Like bringing in, I think that's where it's at too, is the new blood.
Yeah.
Because what you get, what I've heard just in my time here and talking to people is, well, that's just the way things have been done here forever. Yeah. That's just the way things have been done here forever. And my mentality is, fuck that.
Yeah.
But that's me. I'm coming from the outside, and I worry sometimes in South Australia that I'm going to get heat because I'm like, I'm happy to talk to you.
Yeah.
I'm happy to talk to, you know, Joe, Riley. I'm happy to talk to the Bassos. I'm happy to talk to Jonah. I'm happy to talk to Rat Daddy. I'll talk to anyone because I love wrestling.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I do worry about that. It doesn't feel like it's as much of a problem in other states as it is here.
Yeah. So you're talking about the same issue that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, man, like, I honestly don't know why it is. I think it's like, maybe it's because, you know, like, other companies, they work so hard at building up their reputation and they don't want to risk it being jeopardized by, like, another company or another company's guys, you know? If
like someone that hasn't trained in the way that they're comfortable.
Exactly.
But I think if you look at someone else's work, I mean, so a guy like, for example, Matt Hayter, right? He's made a good name for himself in PWSA. He's working here now as well.
Yep.
And I've heard that he might be looking at other places, and I think he should. He should be getting booked everywhere.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? Yeah. There's talent that you can look at their body of work and look at their matches and go, you know, they're safe.
Yeah.
You know, they're good enough to take a chance on at least.
Yeah, and I think Hayter is he's definitely like come a long way from when I first ever saw him do stuff at PWSA. He's definitely like worked a lot harder in the gym. He's got a better look now. And I think he's like kind of evolved from, you know, going for that Adam Cole gimmick to, you know, doing his own thing.
He's no longer just Matt Hayter, baby.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he looks like he's come a long way. And I have a lot of respect for him. I think he's a tremendous worker. Even if he does decide to, you know, go on to bigger, better things in PWSA, like, all the best to him because, yeah, he's got a lot of potential.
Yeah. Well, so he's moving around. I mean, Lil Onyx is working here tonight.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's a few guys that are starting to move around more, which is good. I think that Riot City and Rampage are sort of the two bastions, and they're the biggest companies, so they're always going to be the last. I don't want to say last to fall. I don't want Riot City or Wrestle Rampage to fall.
Yeah.
I got to be clear on that.
Yeah.
But like, the last to open their gates and sort of, you know, embrace a newer way of thinking.
Yeah, well... Yeah, I don't know. I can't say too much there because, like, I know that I have, like, a little bit of heat with the Rampage guys.
Oh, no.
But that shit.
Well, you've worked Rampage, you've worked Riot City, you've worked pretty much everywhere.
I spent time training in Rampage, and then I had my debut at Rampage, and, like, fucking, that crowd was, like, unforgettable, especially for, like, a first match, you know, and, like, That's what I say to like a lot of
Which
the guys.
venue was it? The Port venue or?
No, that was the St. Clair venue.
Okay.
But it was definitely about 600 strong that night, crammed up into that little venue.
Yeah.
Like you've been to their shows, so
Yeah,
you know what it's
yeah.
like. Their crowds are like just so into it. And I had like a lot of family and friends there that night. And fucking I honestly can't imagine like a better debut for myself. But that's what I say to these guys, when it comes to like pushing ticket sales and stuff like that, I say like, don't you guys want to wrestle in front of, like crowds bigger than 90 people, like let's keep working towards that growth, that's when you truly experience like a wrestling match.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people are big on, how you work in front of 10 people is how you'd work in front of a sold out stadium. Like, I don't necessarily believe in that. And I think that's bullshit talk, man. Like, that's crap. We have training matches and you can see guys aren't putting in, and that's everywhere that I've been. Guys aren't invested the same amount that they would be if they were like working in front of 1,000 people. It just doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
So trying to put that shit into people's head, it doesn't work. I see where they're coming from, but what I believe they should push their guys to sell tickets more. You know? And that's doing a service to all of wrestling in South Australia.
Yeah. I do get the philosophy of work the same whether you're in front of 20 people or 20,000, right? I get the idea.
Yeah.
But I think in practice you're probably not going to.
Yeah.
I mean, I was at I went over to Melbourne for the WWE Super Showdown.
Yep.
And the MCW show the night before. I mean, everyone who was there, like all my Melbourne friends who were there were like, that was a special MCW show.
Yeah.
And the talent really stepped it up.
Oh,
and they stepped it up because the crowd stepped it up because there were people like me who follow the stories and know all the talent but don't get to see them every month.
Yeah, I know what you mean, man. I'm the same. Like, I spent some time living in Melbourne, training with Carlo Canna and Vicious Pursuit, and every now and then I'd go to an MCW show and I'd say, like this is like, a good goal to have, to be able to wrestle on these shows here. So that's definitely something that I'm working towards. But yeah, there's always something special about the MCW crowds.
They're definitely the industry leader, I
Definitely,
think, in Australia.
100%. Yeah, like them. I'd also put PWA and EPW up
for
there.
me, I think what sets MCW apart is the production value.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they've got some guys who worked TV and stuff, like in their day job.
Yeah.
That are sort of working behind the scenes, so they've got that little bit of an advantage. I think PWA feels more punk rock.
Yeah.
To me, which I really like, and I have a bias towards PWA because I grew up in Sydney.
Okay.
So I've only been in Adelaide for a couple of years.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I'm new to this scene.
Yeah.
That's why, like, sort of when I left Sydney, all that exclusivity stuff was kind of starting to break down.
Yep.
It's still there to an extent, but it's less. Like, people are more open and more willing to go train here, go train there, go do a bit of everything.
Yeah.
But back to the quality. I think the in-ring quality, PWA and MCW are equal. And EPW as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
They're definitely the top tier. I can see why Progress decided to work with those three specific companies.
Yeah, especially MCW, like especially they've got like a lot of new talents coming through. I think they got a show tonight, don't they?
They do. MCW Endgame, their last show of the year.
Yeah. And you got what is it? The Filip Bros versus
Philip Bros.
Who are they versing? The Brat Pack. That would be a fucking awesome match.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
they're two of the. I mean, they're two of the youngest tag teams in the country, and already two of the best.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly. I've worked with like Mitch Waterman before, and he's a young dude, and he's fucking phenomenal. Fucking MCW's got some cool shit going on right now.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
we are all WWE fans here. It's why we're here, listening to this show and spending inordinate amounts of hours consuming, complaining, and just generally eating, sleeping, and breathing professional wrestling. But if you want to take that to the next level, the only place to do it is WrestleMania 35 in the city so nice that they named it twice New York. And our new friends at All Aussie Travelers are going to help you make that happen in the best way possible. They are new to the wrestling travel game, granted, but they have over 15 years experience in sports and event tours between the US and Australia, so you know you're in good hands. They want to offer you an exclusive WrestleMania package, including return flights to the USA, 6 nights at the New Yorker Hotel right next to Times Square, And the thing that sets these packages apart are the VIP suites that AAT have secured for WrestleMania. So that's, of course, the Raw after WrestleMania. So not only are you going to go to the Hall of Fame, not only are you going to go to WrestleMania 35, but for NXT TakeOver, SmackDown Live, and the Raw immediately after WrestleMania that next night, you are going to be in an exclusive VIP suite that is not normally available to the public. But AAT, they got it locked down. They got it waiting for you with your name on it, your own private entrance, your own private toilets and bar, as well as an unparalleled view in the most comfortable seats in the house. You can experience WrestleMania weekend like never before, all at really competitive prices. So head over to All Aussie Travellers on Facebook, hit that like button, send him a message, send an email to Jack, that's JAAK, at allaussie.com.au, and let them know the B Plus sent you. 100 episodes. We made it. We made it to 100 episodes, and what better way to celebrate than by sharing Threadbox with all the B Plus players across Australia. Threadbox is a subscription service for men that brings you a personalized shopping and stylist experience for any budget. You get direct email access to a personalized stylist who builds out a style profile for you and sends you all the clothes you need. So if you need singlets this month, you're going to get singlets. If you need belts this month, you're going to get belts. You let them know, and they're going to send that out to you. There are multiple packages available, and you always get more worth than you pay for, because Threadbox know all the best brands. CJ and I both got deliveries this month, and amongst our new threads were KSCY, Offends, Cheap Monday, NXP, and more. So you can check out our unboxing videos on the Facebook page, or if you go to threadbox.com.au, you can check out past packages that they've sent out there. We believe in Threadbox because Threadbox want to help us, you, and men everywhere look better without all the bother of having to shop. In as low a price as $40, what more can you ask for? You're going to get more value than you pay for. Just for our fans, if you put in the code the B+15 at checkout, you're going to get 15% off your first box. Head to threadbox.com.au and use the code the B+15 to get your box today. Are you keen to get to other states and perform and sort of...
I definitely am. For me, I've always got my eyes on Melbourne. Then PWA in Sydney, like that would be cool, or EPW in Perth. For me, there's no like, I've had opportunities to work for other smaller companies. I've had guys from other companies ask me, would you be interested in doing one of our shows? The way I see it now is like, right now I'm focusing on ACW, but if any of those like leader companies, were to, however, show any interest in me at all, then I'd be happy to do one of their shows. Like, it's just right now, it's just about like, I'm not gonna go work a company that's gonna not so much devalue me, but I'm not gonna work a show if there's nothing really for me to gain,
Right. You don't think that you're gonna just gain, just working experience, or?
You definitely will, but I can gain the same kind of experience going to PWSA and working random guys over there. Like if I'm doing something, like I want to be working, like names. Like now I want to start working names. That's what's going to build my resume.
Right. Well, that's what I was going to get to as well, is you are doing really well here with ACW. You're currently the number one contender for Adam Brooks's championship.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that's all going to go, or kind of like how that's all going to come together. Like, if I do get the opportunity to I don't know if I'm going to be cashing in or if I'm going to, have like a normal regular match with Adam Brooks, but he's on my list of guys that I want to work with. Like, Adam Brooks is... and it happened, like, I realized that when I joined RCW, like, years ago, and I'd spent a little bit of time there, and I'd seen him, and I think that was the night that he had just won his championship. He cashed in like the key to the city. Yeah. And I was like, I can see myself like one day having a match with this guy. And I never thought that it would be ACW, because ACW wasn't around back then. But, like, I think that would be pretty fucking cool. I think we have similar styles as well. So yeah, that's definitely a goal.
So now it might come full circle and you might cash in on Adam Brooks.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe. That'd be pretty
Spoiler
cool.
alert.
Yeah. Damn it.
But no, so I want to go back to the demon and the storyline and what's going on in ACW. Like, where did you get the idea for this demonic
So
you've got the name as well, Andy Faust, right?
Yeah. So that came with my gimmick. So for ages, I was working as a generic baby face with like no direction, no idea with what the fuck my gimmick was. I wrestled under the name as Johnny Hope and changed it to Andy Black because I wanted to use my own name. And then I was like, no, this is like, you need a gimmick now, you know? And like, a lot of people were saying to me, you'd be a really good heel. And like, you know, I could do the job as a generic babyface. I could work the crowd, get the high fives, do all that crap, and have decent matches. But I feel like being a heel was my calling. And the Andy Faust gimmick came about because a movie got released last year called American Satan. And the main dude was called Johnny Faust. And his story was that basically him and his band sold their souls for fame.
Okay.
So they sold their souls to the devil for fame. Right. And I was like, that'd be a cool way to turn myself heel. And I'm gonna go for like that kind of gimmick. I like the whole rock star kind of look. Right. Yeah. Without being elaborative about being a rock star. Like, so yeah, that's the direction of my gimmick right now.
Kind of like I mean, I guess when you say that, what comes to mind for me is like Johnny, insert name here, Johnny Mundo, Johnny Nitro, Johnny Impact, Johnny, whatever he's called this month. Yeah. He sort of looks and feels like a rock star. Like he's got the coats and stuff and the general vibe. But it's never said that he's a rock star. He's never come out with a guitar or anything. Yeah,
exactly. Well, I think like the when he was John Morrison, the inspiration came from was it Jim Morrison? Yeah. Yeah, like it came from that, and that's sort of similar to what I'm going for. Like, right. I love fucking Johnny Nitro, John Morrison, Johnny Impact, whatever you want to call him today. yeah, absolutely. So you've sold your soul, or Andy Faust, the character, has sold his soul for this fame, and this demonic character that sort of made the debut last time. So there's a literal demon. Yeah. In ACW. See, I love this shit in my wrestling, man, when there's a literal demon. Yeah, like, he's a demonic entity. Like, if you've ever seen Supernatural, the TV show where they make deals with the devil at the crossroads, that's what we were kind of going for. That's why we had him come out in a suit, because, you know, for ages we were like tossing and turning on how we should go about it. And we're like, you know what, we just need to just try things. We'll just try things early on, hope for the best. And if they don't work, they don't work. But, you know, I think if you kind of got the idea that he was a demon, then that's a good start.
Yeah. Side question, just in pop culture in general, why are demons always in suits? When you think about it.
I don't know.
Why is like that image of success an evil image?
I don't know. Maybe it just draws people in. Maybe it's, as you just said, like maybe it's success. It draws people in.
I feel like we're being conditioned, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's tripping me out now that I'm thinking about it. But yeah, so you've sold your soul. Your character sold his soul.
Yeah, sold his soul.
It's gonna take him to the top, to Adam Brooks, to the title.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Sounds perfect to me. I can't think of it going any better.
Alright, so let's envision a future where that all works out, where the demon doesn't screw you, because, you know, that's always the classic. You know, you got to lose something to get something with these guys.
Yeah, that's right.
But let's picture a perfect world where that doesn't happen, and you're now ACW champion. Who else is on the horizon? Who would you like to work with? Who would you bring in?
I want to work guys from other companies. That's exactly what I want to do. Like, as well as put over our own guys, I definitely want to do that. But if I'm going to be self-invested and a bit selfish, then I want to have some big matches, you know, before I'm, you know, sending off the title. I want to face guys like Robbie Eagles, you know, who's a pioneer right now with what he's been doing in New Japan.
Yeah.
Then there's always, you know, like Jonah Rock. Put aside any heat that we have, like, I think like we could have a sick match. Those are really the main two. There's definitely other guys in Australia that I'd love to verse, but those are like the main two. If you name companies, and I could probably think.
I'd really like to see you against someone who was here last month, worked Riley, Sid Parker. Yeah,
that'd be cool.
That'd be a really good match.
Yeah, he's another guy that I'm a massive fan of. That's the thing, man. Like, Australia's got so much talent right now, and I think it's still not getting what it deserves.
We're getting there.
Yeah, like
I still a ways to go.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think like the hashtag, you know, you're gonna notice us. That definitely helped from Mick Moretti. But yeah, man, hopefully we do get there. You know, because you look at what WWE is doing right now. You know, they've just started WWE NXT UK. And like a few years ago, I sort of thought like WWE is going to get to the point where it's going to start branching out. It's going to start having these overseas pay-per-views. Then what can they do from there? All they can do is extend their brand into other countries.
They're building their own territory system.
That's right. The indies could very well die off in like the bigger countries.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't think it will. I think there will always be a will to have somewhere else.
Maybe. Maybe.
You know, like, because I feel like wrestling does have, like, this infused punk rock nature to it.
Yeah.
Of, like, I mean, because we're outsiders. If you're a wrestling fan, you're an outsider. And so you don't like it being taken over and stuff, you know? Like, I feel like there's always going to be that group of people that'll always do something else.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. You know, like, you don't like the mainstream. You want to fight that mainstream.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you.
There's always that thread through wrestling, I think.
Yeah, but there's, like, the way that I see it happening, if it ever was to happen, and it probably won't, but it'd be purely because it would then be like a business, right? Where all guys from the indies, you know, they could be like either paid off to stop running their shit, or, you know, you've got guys who have to pay to train with WWE.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, all right, we have training academies in you know, like Melbourne. You know, we have an NXT in Melbourne. You know, you don't have to, you have to try out, but there's a training fee instead of us paying you to be a part of the brand.
That's a bleak vision of where it's going.
I don't know, man. Like, if you want something to grow, like, you know, you sort of got to think outside the box. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I'm not running WWE. I know fucking nothing. But
yeah, but no, Australian wrestling is on the verge of something big, and it's good to see ACW bringing in talent from outside and growing that, and it's helping guys like you come to people like me and come to our attention so that we can get you out there. So it's really good having you on the show. Thanks for joining us. Tell the people where they can find you.
Sweet, man. Find me at Facebook and Instagram and at ACW Evolve shows or main events. So,
main events.
That's what I've got.
Thanks for stopping by, man.
No worries, man.
Alright, so there you have it. Andy Faust with some powerful things to say, specifically about Adelaide wrestling and the scene in general. And to be honest, I agree with him. Let's blow this thing open. Let's knock down the barriers. Let's knock down the doors. And let's let the best of the best go everywhere. The exclusivity stuff is weird. I don't understand it. And the whole, it's just the way it's always been done. That stuff just doesn't cut it for me. Let's do things in a new way. Let's see how far we can take this. Let's see. It may have worked to get us to this point, but it's stagnated there, right? We want it to grow week in, week out. We want it to grow. We want it to get bigger. So let's kick down the doors. Let's break down the walls, and let's move forward as a scene, working together. Everyone putting on fantastic shows. No one running against each other. And talent being able to do what the talent want to do. We don't want talent that have to feel like they are obligated to do anything because of where they train or anything like that. We want talent that are able to work anywhere that wants them to work. Why would we not want that? We want the guys to get paid, and we want the guys to be able to wrestle every day if they want to. If there's someone willing to pay them to wrestle every day and they want to wrestle every day, they should be able to do that. That's my hope for wrestling, not just in Adelaide, but in all of Australia. And so to that end, I thought that Andy was a great interview. I really liked the things he had to say on that. And his gimmick with the I think there's still a little bit more work to do with the sort of rock star, sold his soul, demonic entity stuff, but I'm very excited to see how it goes, and I'm very excited to see how he grows into that character, because I'm liking it so far, and I'm very curious to see where it goes. Andy Faust is another guy that you want to keep an eye on. And if you like that interview, there are other people who do Aussie Grappler interviews. I'm not the only one. Believe it or not, there are plenty of other shows out there who are talking to other Aussie pro wrestlers, and you may think, Greg, why are you telling us about these other shows? Are you crazy? Why would you advertise your competition? Because that's the thing. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what Andy was trying to say. We aren't competition. We are all in this together. Anywhere you can get your Aussie wrestling fix, get your Aussie wrestling fix. If you don't like it, don't go. You know, that's fine. I'm going to tell you about it because I support these guys. I like what they're doing. Headhunter Rig appeared on Conco and the Fudgers podcast this week. Definitely check that one out. It was a great interview about coming up in Newcastle Pro Wrestling. Mitch Waterman, I haven't had a chance to listen to this one yet, but Mitch Waterman joined the boys on the Turnbuckle down there in Melbourne. Very excited to hear that one. And Mick Moretti fresh off his win at Pro Wrestling League, talks to Todd Eastman on Wrestle Radio Australia. Make sure you check out those interviews if you're a fan of Aussie Grapplers. Support the boys, and no other way is better to support the boys and girls of Australian wrestling than to get out to a show this weekend. And so now I'm going to run down exactly where you can do that this weekend. Of course, we can't ignore the elephant in the room. World Series Wrestling, the Elite Takeover Tour, happens this weekend. It starts on Friday in Melbourne, Saturday in Melbourne, Sunday in Perth, and Monday in Sydney. No Adelaide this time around, unfortunately, and once again, no Queensland. But Melbourne, Perth, Sydney get to experience World Series Wrestling this weekend. Night 1 features Walter vs. Cage, Jonah Rock vs. Flip Gordon, Marty Skrull vs. Adam Brooks, Brandy Rhodes vs. Indy Hartwell vs. Erica Reed, Robbie Eagles vs. Bandito vs. Tome Filip vs. Stevie Filip. Night 2, you get Bandito vs. Stevie Filip, Adam Brooks vs. Walter, Brian Cage vs. Tome Filip vs. Robbie Eagles for the X Division Championship. In Perth, you get to see Brandy Rhodes vs. Savannah Summers, Marty Skrull vs. Damian Slater, Cage vs. Bandito, Austin Aries vs. Flip Gordon for the World Series Wrestling Championship, and Cody vs. Volta. And in Sydney, Mick Moretti vs. Bandito, Austin Aries or Flip Gordon defending the title against Robbie Eagles, Volta vs. Jack Bonza, Brandy Rhodes vs. Shazza McKenzie, Brian Cage vs. Cody, and much more. A lot of guys have been announced for the show without having matches announced, so that is just the tip of the iceberg with the greatness that is World Series Wrestling this weekend. Make sure you head to worldserieswrestling.com to pick up what's left of any tickets. Melbourne Night 2 is sold out. Night 1, there are still tickets available, and Perth and Sydney. Sydney is sold out, and Perth has some tickets available as well. We did an entire preview podcast yesterday that you can check out if you want to know more about World Series Wrestling. But for now, that's all I'm going to say. It's happening this weekend. It's big. It's going to be the best wrestling in the country this weekend, guaranteed. So definitely get out and check it out. But in non-World Series Wrestling this weekend, there is still a lot to check out in New South Wales. On Friday at Tellera Bowling Club, Suplex Wrestling present Homegrown. Hartley makes her debut in the junior heavyweight division with a match against Lynx Lewis, while Jake Gibson defends that junior heavyweight title which Hartley has set her sights on against Jaden Jacobs. Lee the Man Morrow goes one-on-one with Brawler. Jackson Spade faces off against the Sapa Inca. B-Boy takes on Logan Keane. Tommy Jewell and Jack Payne face Alex Irvine and Nate Carlo, and we also know, as I talked about, we will find out who is going to answer Jack Payne's open challenge for the upcoming Chapter 5 show. That's going to be live streamed, but if you do want to catch it live, tickets are available on MoshTix or at the door and start at $13. On Saturday night, IWA comes to the Oberon RSL Club for Wild West. Chris Abbott defends the IWA Heavyweight Championship against Tree Hugger Lucci. Tickets for that one start at $14. Also on Saturday night, the 24th of November, Future Wrestling Australia take Dural Country Club once more for Diamond Edition. The best named tag team in Australia, the Gat and Lat Connection, take on Caesar, who is replacing Mr. Christmas, and B-Boy, as well as Fulton and Lee the Man Morrow in three-way tag team action to determine the number one contendership for the tag team titles. Also in triple threat action, Dazza takes on Alex Irvine and Silvio Milano, Mr. Juicy takes on Sam Osborne, Jude the Dude London and Big Fudge defend their tag team titles against Paris De Silva and Shazza McKenzie. That's an interesting one, since Jude London and Paris De Silva are normally partners. Big Fudge and Shazza McKenzie have been known to team as the Chockblockers, so we've got a clash of tag team partners there. We also get to see Debauchery, Ricky South and Parker Tomas, accompanied by Nikki Van Blair, taking on 5-star Flash and the Australian sensation Craven. Matty Wahlberg goes one-on-one with the Samoan diva Jason Dewhurst with his FWA Championship on the line, and Savannah Summers defends the FWA Women's Championship in a triple threat match against Xena and Tessa Blanchard. Xena will have Kingsley at ringside, and just to complicate things further, Tar Lee is the special guest referee for that one. Anything can happen at Diamond Edition. Tickets for that one start at $10. In Victoria on Saturday night at Glenroy Bowls Club, NAW go old school. Two generations meet as stars from the past take on stars from the present in the main event Old School Battle Royal. But that's not all. James Jackson takes on Kane Morozov, Candyman and Blade Runner take on Psycho Kid Thunder and George the Hitman Julio. Marcus Rampage Blaze puts his pure championship on the line against Jason Crusher Cole's career, and much, much more. Tickets start at $15, so if you missed out on World Series Wrestling tickets for Night 2 or are looking for something a little different, NAW Old School is the place to be at Glenroy Bowls Club. Over in Western Australia on Saturday night, All Action Wrestling are live at the Halls Head Recreation Centre. The Warn Bros take on Mazdak and Oz. Axton and Marshall take on the Cosmic Defenders. Hayden Zenith goes one-on-one with Chris Target. Odin returns to in-ring action against Del Carno. Warship goes one-on-one with Ajax. The Great George and Mike Massive face off. Seth Kincaid and James Grace will go to battle in non-title action. And Felix Young defends his AAW No Limits Championship against the Shark. Tickets for that one are just $12.50. And then, in the middle of the week, Wednesday and Thursday night, 28th and 29th of November in Melbourne at the RMI TV studios right there in the heart of the city. Wednesday and Thursday become Wrestling Night in Australia as Studio Superstars goes live over the airwaves via the internet via Kling into my home here in Adelaide, your home in Sydney, Perth, Brisbane, Gold Coast, wherever you are. Even if you are one of our listeners in Iran, if you are one of our listeners in America, in the UK, wherever you are, you can sign up to Kling and you can watch One Fall Entertainment Studio Superstars present some of the best of Australian professional wrestling. Nights 1 and 2, this week's nights feature matches like Jonah Rock vs. Adam Brooks, Robbie Eagles vs. Logan Gray, Gino Gambino vs. Loverboy Lockie Hendricks, The Lads, that's JXT and Dowie, taking on the big boys Big Ali and Slade Mercer, Mile High Club, Jet Roker and Tyson Baxter, two great up-and-comers from Melbourne versus Animalistic Sid Parker and Fox teaming for the first time. Erica Reed takes on Vixen and Bianca in a triple threat. Gentleman's Agreement, Richie Taylor and Campbell Crawford take on Hustle and Flow, Slick Nick Berry and Kaz Jordan. JXT versus Lockie versus Slade Mercer, Gino Gambino versus Lockie, Gino versus Jonah versus Dowie versus Robbie versus Logan versus Brooksy in the main event on night 1 to crown the first ever One Fall Entertainment Studio Superstars champion. It's gonna be an amazing 2 days of wrestling. You definitely want to tune in live via Kling, or if you are in Melbourne, head on down. Tickets are available now through our Tix. As always, head to the Facebook for more details. I will put a link in the show notes. And that's what's happening this week. That's what's happening this week in Aussie Grapps. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. If you like what we do, please hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes if you feel so inclined. And as always, thank you so much for listening.
Hold one! Arm drag!
You're not doing this. Get out. Let me tell you a personal story about Vince McMahon.
You just made the list!
So, no speak English.
Dummy! Goodbye and good night! Hold 2! Arm bar!
This is the worst town I've ever been in.
It's still real to me, damn it!
Dummy! Hold 3! The moss covered!